Egboma na-ege ntị, daalụ nile nnenu ụmụ Chineke, ka unu si wee na-esore n'ife anyị na-eme n'ilu akwụkwọ. A sị na-adịrị niile na mma, a sị nke echi ya zelụ. Daalụ nile nnenu, dịka o si anyị eje gbapịa osi gosi unu ife ndị anyị ji maka ya wee bịa n'ilu akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị nke taa. Ige ntị na ịya anụ ka o si ada. Ife a bụ nnukwu, ka m sụọ ya ka esi wee kwuo n'ọnụ, quick warning to all the Southeast governors. Biafran Liberation Army will order anyelefa na ọbụna ha emere ife a ọma ndịkwa fọni ka ọ rapịdị ka ọnụọnụ m ka o si wee dapụta. Gee ntị na ya bụ ife, ị ga-esia ya ikwuo, itinyere ya alụ gị ife ichelu gbasịta maka ife the leader, or let me say the commander of Biafra Liberation Army, Ifoku. All right, over to you, sir.
Have cleansed off that route, and then a public announcement will be made, and then you will understand that it is a safe zone, that it is a green zone. So please take note and pass this message to all Biafrans who are in these provinces. We salute the office of our Prime Minister, who is making sure Biafra is heard and reckoned everywhere. So that is a security warning and a security alert. So please, in same manner, when you are anywhere in Biafra land, and then you hear any gunshot from anywhere, when I mean anywhere, I mean from anywhere, you hear gunshot from anywhere, please and please, what you do is do not start running. The best way for you to take cover when you're hearing gunshots is you go down on the ground. You lie down and then you start crawling. You start advancing as you lie down on the ground. You start crawling. You start crawling till when you get to a safe zone. Do not make the mistake of start running when you hear gunshots, because as you are running, the gun bullet that is flying may pick you because it is flying in the air. It is not flying on the ground. But when you lay down on the ground, before you now start crawling and then advancing down to your safe zone, you will be able to stay away from or not be picked by that bullet that is flying in the air. This is a security tactic that you need to apply when you hear any gunshot in Biafra land. Even if you happen to partake in a protest, which we have sanctioned that there is no protest in Biafra land as far as Biafra is concerned, if you happen to find yourself in any engagement that there is a gunshot, take these safety precautions, please, because it will save your life. All right. Today is Eastern Security Network and Biafran Liberation Army, Biafran Republic Government in Exile fundraising. And we are calling on all Biafrans and all lovers of freedom to please and please make it up today. We need money, we need funds more than any other thing. If there is anything that can help Russia to become who they are today, it is the amount of money that they have. It is how they have been able to utilize the money, to harness the money to become something worthful. It is how they have been able to take care of the resources that God has given to them. It is how they have been able to utilize what God has given to them to become something that can be beneficial to all humanity that inhabit in Russia. Now, when you now look at the contrast part of it, you now check Ukraine. Ukraine, even as they call a sovereign state or a sovereign nation, whichever way, or a sovereign country, Ukraine is jumping and junketing from America to NATO, from NATO to UK, from UK to Europe, just to look for what? To look for money. To look for money to fund their weapons. To look for money to fund their watches. To look for money to be able to fight the war which is on ground. Now, what are we saying here? When you have money, you can buy and acquire any weapons that you want, and you can crush your enemy at any given time. And your enemies will be falling as you click one button. Now, for Biafran Liberation Army to engage the terrorists in Biafra land, with the security warning that just came up today against tomorrow, which is invariably going to start over the night, because we understand how the security system works. When we give you this warning like this is likely to start over the night, and the Biafran Liberation Army, they know how to engage them. Now, for us to be able to have every combat to be successful, we need to have guns and bullets in abundance. Now, if we don't have guns and bullets in abundance, there is no how we can decimate, there is no how we can destroy, there is no how we can overcome the enemies and the terrorists that invade Biafra land. So what am I saying? We need every dime, We need every offering that you have. We need every tithe that you have. The book of Luke, which I forget the very chapter and the very verse, says, he that has a garment, let him sell that garment and buy what? A weapon. So I am now putting it to you. If you have private jet, sell your private jet. Use the money to fund ESN, fund Biafra Liberation Army. Let us buy weapons. If you have armored car, it is useless because it will only save only you. It will not save the entirety of Biafrans. Sell that your armored car. Put the money in the ESN and Biafra Liberation Army fundraising. If you have plenty houses and companies, where are the proceeds of those companies? Bring the money, come and pay the tithe to the Biafran Liberation Army, Eastern Security Network, and everything that we are doing to be able to secure Biafra land. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said Biafra land must be peaceful, Biafra land can only be peaceful and secured when we are able to, where there is presence of destruction of lives and properties. So what are we saying? We are calling on all Biafrans and all lovers of freedom to come to the understanding that the freedom of the Biafran people is the freedom of everyone in the entirety of one Nigeria. The freedom of Biafra is the leading role to the freedom of the Africans. You see all this coup that is picking up now in Africa. It is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that opened their eyes. It is Biafra that opened their eyes. It is the kidnap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that opened their eyes. It is the implementations and the steadfastness of Mazi Simon Ekpa and his team and cabinet that have opened the eyes of every international community and every African countries who are rising up to the understanding of freedom. If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, and then we all went to lick the wounds of the Fulani terrorists, the politicians, and the errand boys that we have in Biafra lands, like the DOS did, and all the governors of the East did. Then we abandoned Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We now went and started singing Obi, 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 Obedient 79, Obi 75, Obi 74. If all of us had abandoned Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in detention, we left Mazi Simon Ekpa, and then we went to go and start singing Labour Party, Obedient. There would have been no awareness that would have been created for African leaders and the coup leaders to wake up to understand that there is a turning point and that is a confluence point which they need to connect, that they have to start working on the circumference to be able to determine the radius of what is actually going on. So you need to understand something, that the steadfastness of Mazi Simon Ekpa and his entire team has been able to open the eyes of all the African coup leaders that you now see and what they are doing. So when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu tells you that Biafra will be the lead, Biafra will take the lead, Biafra will open the eyes of every man, that it is a beacon of hope. It is through that beacon now that every eyes have been opened. It is through the exposition and the exposures that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had done against one Nigeria that you now see that everyone are rising up to the fore and they are coming to the understanding of the reality. That is why you see that as it is now, everyone are rising up against the imperialists. They are rising up against the colonialists. They are rising up against their slave masters. They are rising up against the people that dissected them on the table in 1884 to 1885 in Berlin Conference, where Africans and their inhabitants and their resources were kept on a table, and then they were dissected into sections, like you are using knife to chop onions into pieces, which you want to use to fry akara. You want to use the onions to put in your okra soup. You want to use the onions to cook edikaikon. So this is what was done in 1884 to 1885, when you heard of the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference is where the Europeans, the Asians, the Americans, the British, they all sat down to do what? To dissect Africa into segments where it will benefit them. This one took this side. You saw where the Portuguese take. You saw where the Spanish take. You saw where the Americans take. You saw where the French take. You see where the Belgians take. You see where the British take. So where you see them speak English, you know this is the side that was segmented to this side. Where you see them speak French, you know this is the side that was segmented to France. Where you see them speak Spanish, you know this is the side that was segmented to the Spanish. Where you see them speak Portuguese, you know this side was segmented to the Portuguese. Where they speak Belgium, when they speak Dutch, you know that this side was also segmented to the Belgians. So this is what Africans have gone through for centuries. This is what Africans have gone through for many, many years. But the time has come where Africans have to be free. So we are calling on all Biafrans and all lovers of freedom for them to please remember that your freedom is in your own hands. The colonialists will not give you any freedom. It is you that will have to fight for your freedom to get it. So in any country that you find yourself, support the coup leaders, support the freedom fighters that are fighting and standing up to make sure one Nigeria is destroyed, to make sure that very country as well is also destroyed. Because if that country is not destroyed, I tell you, the inhabitants of those countries will never be free. You can never be comfortable in the hands of your slave masters and then you expect to be a free man. No, you can never. The day you start frowning your face, the day you pick up arms, the day you confront your colonialist, the day you confront your slave master and ask him, what is the price for my freedom? I want to be free. From that very day, your slave master will understand that you have come to understand the truth and nothing but the truth, and that they have been deceiving you for years. And from that very day that you ask them that question, they know that they cannot stop you because you have come to the time of never going back. You have been the slave for many years. But the day you confront that your slave master, from that day going on, you see that everything will change. So what are we saying here? We don't expect to be romancing or enjoying with the enemies of Biafra. So we must deal with the enemies of Biafra in every way possible. And we are not missing words. So we thank you to all our donors who have been making sure that Eastern Security Network Biafra Liberation Army have a lot of funds, bullets and guns to defend Biafra land. And we are calling on you to please do not forget to continue because it is a just cause. And we must and must and must continue because it is the only thing that will give us freedom. It is the only thing that will stop us from continuing to beg from America, from UK, from Europe. When we go to apply for visa, we beg for the visa. And yet, we have to still pay for the visa. And yet, all these people take our resources, they put pipeline from Biafra land to America and to UK and to Europe, and they take our oil out free of charge. Free of charge. We only get pennies back. But yet, we have to pay for visa to go to these same countries. Can you see the inhumane treatment that they have meted on you for years and centuries? They don't even have the human empathy, talk less of sympathy, to reconsider and understand that if you colonize these people, that at least you should give them a leverage of having a free visa coming down to, what is the point of you colonizing them? That means colonization is all about slavery. You colonize them, you enslave them for years and years and years and years, and they will continue to remain as your slaves for years. They will never get free because all you want to keep them is in jeopardy. You want them to remain as your puppet. You want them to remain as your children. You want them to be licking your wounds. You want them to always be begging for their way out. You put them in a vulnerable situation, just like one Nigeria will put all the students in a vulnerable state. Then the student will now be prone into going into bad businesses or thuggery or anything that the politicians will now contact them at any given time. And then they will have no choice. Because you've been to school, spend years in university, spend years in a college of education, spend years in polytechnics, and then spend years in some academies. When you come out, your certificate cannot speak. You cannot get a job. And then you now become useless and vulnerable to the system. What now happens is that they are ready to use you to carry out their political thuggery at any given time. So when you have not eaten for like a week, and when you have not seen 10,000 in months, the day a politician will now walk up to you with such an amount of money just for you to go and do a dirty job, you will jump at it because they have created a system that they put you in a vulnerable state. So you now become versatile. You now become versatile to anything that comes. This is why we must earn it, because if we don't earn it, it will continue. And this is the reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is behind bars, because he spoke against it, he exposed it, and they say, oh, this prophet that God has given to them has come to finish. No, now person where know the parlor, now person where know the kitchen, now person where know the alleyway, now person where know the route to your wardrobe. Now you go understand, now you go fit lead person, come inside your room where they will come find you. Now you go give the map. Now you go tell them, so this is the design. When you enter the house, you turn left, you turn right, you go like this, you go like this, you use this person, you use this person, you ring this bell at this point, you move from point A to point B, you turn to left, you move 3 steps forward, you move 3 steps backward, you go to left, you go to right, you click here, then it will respond. That is an insider that knows everything and out. That is how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was picked out. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on the inauguration speech of Eastern Security Network in 2020 December, he said, I am announcing today that what did they call it? He called one name, it's something of Okarafo. He said she is going to be the one to manage all my social media handles. He said my Twitter handle, he said my Facebook, he said Instagram, he said any day that you see any tweets coming out from these handles, you have to take it because it is on my authority. So MNK made this announcement the day that Eastern Security Network was inaugurated. I want you to go and listen to that video, and I will try to make out time to cut out that part and bring it. So what point am I saying? What I am saying is that when MNK was kidnapped in 2021 June, And then from the day that MNK was kidnapped and then it was in the hands of the terrorists in Kenya, tortured for over 8 days before he was later brought to Nigeria. Remember that they were still tweeting with MNK's Twitter handle from the day he was kidnapped until the day he appeared in mask in one Nigeria. That was immediately when they stopped tweeting. When they saw that everything has been exposed, that MNK is in chains and is in mask, and then he is in one Nigeria, at that very time, that was when they stopped tweeting. So you guys have questions to ask the social media handler of secretary of our Onyendu, because he made that public announcement. He said he's the one that is going to control all the social media handles. So whatever he's tweeting is coming out from his order. So this same person knew quite well that MNK was kidnapped and was excommunicated at a certain time, but continue to use the Twitter handle to be telling Biafrans that MNK says this, MNK says that, MNK is coming for broadcast this time, MNK is coming for this time. After that time reached, MNK did not come. He will now write another one and postpone, and then continue tweeting in cognizant with the way MNK used to tweet on a daily basis. These are the worms that we have had in IPOB for many years. And it is time we expunge all of them. And I think the Agune Chamber, one of Biafra land, who has not been taking it easy to make sure he deal with every sabo in IPOB. You have been their end, and you will continue to be their end. Now, Mazi Simon Ekpa did not go to the BRICS. Mazi Simon Ekpa is not a member of the BRICS. Biafra Liberation Army is not a member of the BRICS. Biafra is not a member of the BRICS. But what happened? Mazi Simon Ekpa is not in the BRICS, but he destroyed one Nigeria in the BRICS. So this is a win-win to the Biafran people because we are winning left, right, center. We are winning left, right, center. The Biafran Republic government in exile have a lot of diplomatic engagement ongoing on, which are not to be kept public until the one that is necessary to be kept public you get to hear from the authority of our PM. But I can assure you that a lot are going on, and our fingers need to be crossed while we continue to fight. But there is something exceptional here. Something exceptional here is that when we did say every Biafran media warrior should connote his or her name with Simon Ekpa, because it is an awareness and it is a protest. People may not or do not understand us very well. Mazi Simon Ekpa has become the eye of the agitation, the face of the agitation, the face of the liberation of Biafra. And if you want to know Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, click where you see Mazi Simon Ekpa's face. Click where you see Mazi Simon Ekpa's name. That is where the hyperlocation will now take you down to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because he is the only man that is standing in place of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for now. One Nigeria had before now written to Russia that they should not do what, they should not listen to Mazi Simon Ekpa, that he is not the IPOB. He's not the one fighting for Biafra. And then you ask the question, has it gotten to the point where one Nigeria will now become an advocate for IPOB? Has it gotten to the point where they now become the spokesperson for IPOB? Then we say, oh, this is a win-win. Do you all remember during the election of 2023 that Garuba Adamu was on Russia TV calling on the Russian country for them to join hands to bring Mazi Simon Ekpa down to Nigeria, same way that they kidnapped Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Laya Mohammed was also in America and UK to tell the international community that they are enabling IPOB through the auspices of Mazi Simon Ekpa to raise funds, this Eastern Security Network funds.
Ebe ọma na-ege ntị, daalụnụ. Unu anụgonu ka o si gbatakwuru, ọ nụrụ si ime gịnị si kọrọ nwanne ya. Ya bụ the leader of Biafran Liberation Army. Ife o kwugasị n'elu akwụkwọ a nke dị ka ibia, gịnị ka ị nwere ike ikwu gbasata maka ya bụ ife, kabarụ ka ị drọpụla ya on the comment section below. Ige ntị, ị ya ama ife kpatara ife a niile ji eme. Akụghọta ọ because of na Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na mkpọrọ. So njikwere a na-asị biko dododo ka ndị ọrụ na-eru n'okwu mara ife a ga-eme gbasata maka ya bụ ife. Bikonu ka Maazị Nnamdi Kanu pụta kwudo dị na eastern part of Nigeria. Nwandalụ niile dịka unu na-ege ya bụ ife, gbakwanụ mbọ unu share ya ka ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ sorokwa anyị tinyekwa alụ gbasata maka ihe na-eme n'elu akwụkwọ a. Thank you and Emeka Chukwu Kabima bless you. Ise.